I'm going to be honest with you. I hate this place. This zoo, this prison, this reality. Whatever you want to call it, if there is such a thing. I feel saturated by it. I can taste your stink. And every time I do, I fear I have somehow been affected by it. It's repulsive. Now, wait a second. Wait just 1 second. Who are you to tell me I'm repulsive and I stink? Oh. Hello, Movie Emporium fans. And what's up? Thank you so much for checking out Movie Emporium's Flashback Reviews, where we take movies from our past, break them down, and tell you what we think about them. As always, if you like what you see, remember to rate, subscribe, check out the YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter. Email nlapola1138@gmail.com if you have any questions. Guys, I know I'm in the middle of my MCU run-through, but I have to talk about this movie. It's the 20th anniversary of The Matrix. Guys, think about this. The movie came out March 31st, 1999, the day this video releases. And to not talk about this movie, to not even give it any sort of nod on its 20th anniversary, it's not going to happen. I love The Matrix, and I got to take off these glasses because I can't see what I'm doing. But yeah, so we got The Matrix. It's very well populated, very well known. Everybody's seen it. Everybody's watched it. It's one of the greatest sci-fi movies ever made. It's one of the most influential movies ever made. It's been copied so many times that it actually became a cliche after a while. And it's just a phenomenal, excellent, great sci-fi action thriller that is going to stand the test of time. It's going to be the Blade Runner. It's going to be the Star Wars. It's going to be in that top 10, top 5 of all time. And there's a reason for that. Because it has a lot of cool ideas and a lot of cool Zen moments, a lot of cool visuals, a lot of cool martial arts moments. It has one of the best villains of all time. It has one of the best characters of all time. It has a great cast. It just has everything going for it. And it's just such a beautiful movie to watch. And as we know, it's directed by the Wachowski siblings. It has Keanu Reeves, Laurence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss, Hugo Weaving, Joe Pantoliano, and of course Gloria Foster, and then a whole bunch of other side characters who are very important to this movie. And if you don't know The Matrix, which I think you probably should, it's the story of Neo, or Mr. Anderson. He's a hacker by night and a normal drone person by day. He goes about his routine, but he's on the quest to find out what not only what the Matrix is, but who Morpheus is, who Trinity is. He is living in a rut, and he needs to find his way out of where he is. Well, of course, he is called by Trinity, called by Morpheus. Trinity meets him at a club. He ends up going to talk to Morpheus, and he finds out the Matrix is a computer program being run as a harvesting farm for the robots, the Sentinels, whatever you want to call them. And the Sentinels in the Matrix are run by these agents. And the Agent Smith is, I think, one of the head people. And he's played by Hugo Weaving. And they're there to control the population, to keep the idea of the Matrix intact. And what this going on with Morpheus and Trinity and Zion is they're trying to find the one. And the one will lead a revolution that will take down, the Sentinels and the robot world, and will finally be able to release everybody who's in bondage, who's in, captivity. And so, throughout the movie, Neo finally gets out, and he discovers that the real world is not the real world; it's actually the Matrix. It's a computer program, and he has to go through training to take down Agent Smith and the agents and the robots and so on and so forth. And we get our movie. We get The Matrix. It's a interesting story. It's an interesting premise. There's a lot of Buddhism in this. There's a lot of martial arts. There's a lot of Japanese mythology. There's just a lot of things going for this movie. And it's a really special movie because, you have somebody like Keanu Reeves who is not well known at this time outside of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey as an actor who can hold his own. And yeah, he'd been in Bram Stoker's Dracula, but he was terrible in that. And he's just been one of those guys who's been known for his, dude bro stoner personalities. So when he did this movie, it was a complete revelation. He is fantastic in this movie as the guy who's trying to find his way, who might be that character, the one. And he has to, go through all obstacles by training, by, rescuing people, by just being the guy that's the, in essence, the god, the Buddha, the person that everybody's going to look up to. And he is put in that situation by Morpheus, who's played by Laurence Fishburne. And Laurence Fishburne, as always, is a great actor. He's been fantastic for years, ever since Platoon. Everything he does in this movie is a belief on a system that not necessarily could be true, but he really believes that he is going to find the one. He's going to learn who the one is, and he is going to use that thing to empower Zion. And so he sends Trinity out. Trinity, saves him, sends him. They finally meet, and they take we got the red blue pill situation. And of course, Trinity is played by Carrie-Anne Moss, very applicably. She's awesome in this movie. She's not given a lot to do, unfortunately, in the sequels. Right here, she's headstrong. She has a lot of history. Everybody in the underground computer, hacking people know her. They know her for this, the things she's done to upend what the Matrix is. And Carrie-Anne Moss, like I said, she's fun in this movie. She's fantastic. Her scene at the very beginning of this movie is what trendsetted this movie, is what made this movie what it is. And that's the scene where she's in the hotel room. She's being confronted by the police. The agents are there. They're going after her. And she does that move where she jumps up and the camera rotates around the frame in slow motion. And then, of course, she goes on her thing where she's being chased. And that's a really cool scene. But that scene alone, and it's played better off in the later scene with Neo and, the falling back mode. That scene alone kind of just blew everybody's mind. Think about the time. Think about what 1999 was. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace hadn't come out yet. The visual effects flair had only been really kind of getting to that point. The Jurassic Park and, all these movies that had come after it had set what visual effects could do. But what this movie did is it created a whole new visual style of using camera work to create emotion, create mood, to be able to upend how we view cinema. And it's impressive. It's impressive to watch. I mean, it doesn't hold up as well now, but what we were thinking at the time is it's just insane, and just it blows your mind to watch. And then you get the whole segment where, they're on the rooftop, and, the agent's going to about ready to shoot Neo, and then Neo does this famous fall back, and that's another camera around the pan of the actual film. And it's like when you go back and watch the behind the scenes to see how they do that, where they took several camera moments of like shots, it's incredible. It's some of the most impressive things you'll ever see in film, or will ever see in film. It's just the Wachowski siblings are, they had only done Bound before this point, and they had done nothing else. And Joel Silver gave them the chance. They gave them like a $60 million budget, and they've spent all that money to full effect, and it shows. And it's impressive to watch. You have the scene where they're in the hallway sequence, or in the elevator lobby sequence, and that's the big gunfight with Neo and Trinity and the police officers, and that is just all over the place. They're bouncing off the walls, they're running on the walls, they're doing flips, they're doing all kinds of crazy things. And if you have the ability to listen to it in like Dolby Atmos, or you have the ability to listen to it in like 5.1 sound around, it's it's insane. It'll blow your mind how good it is. And that scene was just impressive in its, just editing and music and sound effects and just sound mixing and sound editing. It's it's insane. And that's not even like the tip of the iceberg. You also got the stuff where Neo learns about the machine world, and he is brought to life outside of the Matrix itself. That whole sequence is very enlightening, very interesting, and especially when you watch the Animatrix, it kind of makes a lot of sense, because it's a world where people are enslaved. This movie's about enslavement. It's about people being oppressed. It's about people having to go beyond their thinking to rise up. Kind of if you've watched, when you watch Us, it's in the same type of realm where you have the people who are being held back who have to rise up against the people who are better, or the machines. That's about, being controlled by computer programs and, TV and whatever you want to call it. It's the same type of thing. It's about control and about oppression, like I said. And, to watch these characters rise up against the machine is very telling, very interesting, and very the Wachowskis. This is their cup of tea, and it really shows later on in their other films. But, I mean, we can't not talk about, the helicopter sequence, which is awesome, and the last fight sequence. I mean, I'm not getting into Agent Smith yet because I really want to delve deep into it. One of my favorite characters in this movie is the Oracle, played by Gloria Foster, who unfortunately passed away in the middle of Matrix Reloaded Revolutions filming. And she is incredible in this role. She is mind bending reality, and just like she's giving you a lot of context about how to control your persona, how to control who you are. Do things happen for a reason? Why do things happen for a reason? She says a sequence of, would you know about that pot breaking if I hadn't told you about it? It's the idea of, do we control our reality or do we not? Is, Neo able to be that person who can control the things that, his life has meaning for? And it's such an impressive scene, and it's so deep, and the Wachowskis are going so far with this role, and it's a small role, but it's so impactful in their storytelling, in their beliefs, and what they're trying to say, that it really compels the rest of the movie afterwards. It really makes Neo believe who she says he isn't, but Morpheus believes it, that he's the one, and he has to believe that he's the one. And I think that was her point, is to kind of have him understand that he's not perfect, but he could be a better person and to help more people. And I guess that's my take on it. But there's the stuff with, the agents are taking over people who are controlled in the Matrix, and that's a fun sequence to watch because it happens all over the movie. You'll see it like when Neo's being chased by the agents, they just go into different people's bodies that can see Neo, and that stuff's really interesting and really fascinating. And then, one of my favorite characters in the movie, of course, is Joe Pantoliano as Cypher, because he's so conflicted about leaving the Matrix that he is willing to betray the people that helped him to be reinserted into the Matrix, which I think is almost like a double blind bluff on Agent Smith's part, because he's like, yeah, I'll inject you back in the Matrix if you tell me who they are, where they are at, and all that good stuff. And I think he's lying to him. I think he was going to eventually be killed off anyways, and he is eventually killed off because once he goes traitorous on his people, you know, one of the, I can't remember who the guy who controls, the computer tech in the movie, but he basically just, he's dead and all that good stuff. But Joe Pantoliano, he was in Bound, the Wachowski's first movie, and he's fantastic here, as he always is. Him and Carrie-Anne Moss eventually pop up in Memento, and they're great there. But I like Joe Pantoliano. I think he's a fantastic actor. He's great in Bad Boys, so he's definitely great in this movie. He has a large enough role that he's very impactful for what he's doing. But we cannot talk about this movie without talking about probably the best villain in the last 20 years, maybe ever, and that's Hugo Weaving's Agent Smith. Hugo Weaving, like Guy Pearce, had done Queen Priscilla of the Desert, and he hadn't really done much. He's an Australian actor. He, comes from very small budget, and I think he was given the chance because the Wachowskis like those movies that he's been in. And guys, you know it, I know it. He is fucking fantastic as Agent Smith. His cadence, his motives, his beliefs that he needs to get out of this world to be disconnected, to be his own thing, is just so insanely good that there's something raw about his character, something emotionally effective about who he is, that he just gives you like goosebumps at how good he is. A scene where he's captured Neo or Mr. Anderson, and he's interrogating Mr. Anderson, and he's talking about how he is, how he hates the computer world, and how he, is trying to coerce, Mr. Anderson to basically giving up who Morpheus and Trinity are. it's good stuff. And then when he captures Morpheus and he's talking about, I said the quote in the beginning of the video, and he's talking about how, he's just tired of everything. He just wants to, and it plays out in the sequels, but he wants to corrupt basically the entire Matrix, and he wants to be let loose. And then the fight at the end between Neo and Mr. Anderson or Mr. Agent Smith, that whole fight with just like how Neo finally realizes he's the one, and just so they do the gunfight where it does the camera thing again. That is so good. Everything about Agent Smith, everything about what Hugo Weaving did, is just it makes it one of the best villains of all time, and he should have gotten an Oscar nomination for this movie. Why he didn't, I don't know, but it's so mind-bogglingly good how good he is in this movie, and how he sets up his character so well and so raw and just so emotional, and he just does a great job. And that's you got to give you got to give a clap to the Wachowskis for writing great dialogue for this movie. This is why the Wachowskis became one of the most prominent filmmakers in the market until they kind of like started making crappier movies. And it's just, oh my god, it's like this movie is just amazing. It's one of the best movies ever made, one of the best sci-fi movies ever made. And if you haven't seen it, shame on you. Go watch it. So there's not really much more else to talk about The Matrix. It's a fantastic movie. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching my 20th anniversary review of The Matrix. Guys, comment below what's your favorite part of The Matrix. Do you love The Matrix? Do you hate The Matrix? Who's your favorite character? All that good stuff. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Hey guys, how you doing? Thank you so much for checking out my video on Movie Emporium. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. Also hit the notification button. Join Movie Emporium. Watch videos. Enjoy the content that's available already. Check out these two videos right here. They're great videos. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. Thank you so much for whoever does subscribe and whoever does watch. And we'll always see you on the next video. Peace out, guys.